honestly, I really don't care much about, the games that happened yesterday, even though there's a couple games today. Honestly, I think, considering what I've talked about over the last week or so, I think I'm honestly about ready to end like this particular year's series of, why I'm still here. Before I do that, I'll get to my low and my highlights, guys. I don't know, I guess my low is the fact that I suddenly have to change my sort of routine. And I don't really feel the most comfortable about doing that. But I'm willing to try it. My high is the fact that I, have to talk things over with my dad about that sort of thing. And my act of kindness was I actually helped my dad with something during the day, so that was really nice. So, good morning and happy Tuesday, everyone. I guess I should probably really start with, because, again, considering that a week ago I talked about Andrew Einstein's death, and yesterday I talked about Sean Bertanz's death, it really is important to emphasize that, yes, the two facts I talked about in life, one being that very one good thing that happens, and the bad things can happen as well. And plans can go completely awry, so you're not able to, complete them. Those are two facts of life, and it probably does come across as, being particularly, negative. But I don't want to see it that way. The more I've learned about the fact that, I do suffer from depression, the more I really have come to learn that stuff like this really could present an opportunity to find some way to move forward from all this. I mean, it's easier said than done to do because you never really know what, the plan is. But it helps to at least know that there's options available. Because it probably came across this way too when I talked about it last week, but, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea that, I only decided not to commit suicide because Andrew wound up doing it. I don't want to see it that way. Because even after it happened, I still thought, okay, so that happened. It's not going to change my mind. And if you remember, it was when I saw my brothers band together and unite under a time of Great Depression did I decide to change my mind. I couldn't predict that was going to happen. And then I realized I couldn't do that to them. So, was I still going to do it? It's hard to really say what would have happened had the outcome not be what it was. I mean, full disclosure, I don't have any access to cyanide pills. I don't have access to a gun. I have no clue how to tie a noose. Honestly, if I ever did, do that, if I ever did, want to commit suicide, literally my two best options were to jump out of the 4th story of Claude building, which is actually a very tall building, or just go into Trinity Pauling's pond during the wintertime and hopefully freeze to death. Those were literally the only things I could come up with. I mean, no, they're not particularly good ideas. Well, then again, committing suicide's never a good idea. But they were something, I guess. And the whole thing about jumping out of a building wasn't a new concept to me. In fact, honestly, back when I was in Horseheads, the thought about me jumping out of the second floor bathroom window was always somewhere on the back of my mind. Yeah, Horseheads, you may want to consider, this time of year they do keep their windows closed because, it's freezing outside right now. But I would say be relatively cautious about having it open. Or at least have it open part of the way so no one can fit through the ceiling or fit through the window. And not to make this sound, not that I mean for this to sound funny, but literally every time I thought about doing it, I immediately thought of Squidward from that one episode of SpongeBob. Be like, I wonder if a fall from this height would be enough to kill me. If you remember the Mermaid Man, it was Mermaid Man Barnacle Boy 4. That's where it's from. And Mermaid Man Barnacle Boy was awesome. SpongeBob was awesome. I wish the cure for depression was as easy as watching SpongeBob, but it's a lot more complicated than that. I guess I always sort of was on the fence kind of about doing it. Yeah, I'm contemplating this. And perhaps I will do it. But I have just enough optimism in me to say, you know what, let's just see if anything happens next. It's just unfortunate that, Andrew wound up passing away himself. So, something did happen, I guess. I just wish it was under different circumstances. And I think and that really is a big takeaway from this. Yeah, I contemplated suicide, and no, I didn't wind up doing it. And I also want to make one thing clear. January 2009 was supposed to be my time to do it, but it wasn't. So if I didn't do it then, I'm not going to do it now. Never. I don't want to do that. And I mentioned how the last 13 years I've wandered through life not knowing what I'm doing. And it's true. You could argue that I'm just simply going through the motions in life. Not that I don't think that's a particularly bad thing as long as, you're hitting the normal beats, if you will. I.e., going to college, finding a job, living on your own, stuff like that. So, I have that going for me. And, like I said last Monday, if anything were to happen, I have a support system. I have parents who love me, a brother and his wife. They love me. My nephews love me. Actually, I just saw my nephews the other day, and they were really happy to see me. So that should tell you all you need to know right there. And I have friends who root for me. Y'all know who you are. And I honestly have so much in life to live for and think about that why would I ever, commit suicide? There's always going to be that day where, I can't even, if you will. But come on, lots of people feel that way sometimes. I wouldn't be. I just saw some friends post on Facebook saying they couldn't handle today or yesterday is what. Oh, you get the idea. They couldn't handle yesterday. So it's not like this doesn't happen for anyone. I don't think it also ever really occurred to me that I mean, how do I put this? It's been over 13 years since it happened. And sometimes it doesn't really occur to me that, I actually made it here in my 30s. I never thought I'd be over 30 years old. I mean, yeah, many years ago I was in that mindset where if I didn't, pardon the language, get laid and get married later and stuff like that, I was gonna, kill myself. I mean, guess you can imagine how that turned out. And there are some things about life that are hard. I'm still single with the one girl I've been crushing on forever. Now she's in a relationship herself, and, there's nothing I can really do about it. Although, in this case, I blame the pandemic. Because if I saw anyone else during the pandemic, I couldn't see my nephews grow up. So, yes, I chose family over a girl, okay? I know it's probably going to be the last time I ever do that. I also want to thank from the bottom of my heart everyone who's reached out and supported, everything I've been talking about over the last week or so. I mean, I say over the last week, really, for technically 5 videos if you want to include last Monday. It really does mean the world to me that there are those out there that were thinking about what I was saying. And, well, for one thing, I hope you're doing okay in this time of year, because it may be Christmas time, it may be the most wonderful time of year, but there's plenty of people who would say otherwise about that. Also, if you took nothing else from anything I've ever said, it's the fact that you should go and support organizations like, the suicide prevention, or stuff for Wolff Parkinson's White syndrome, or facilities that help people with disabilities, seek jobs and stuff like that. You really should go and support them, because these people make it their livelihood. They live to do what they do every single day, and they love it. And from what I've seen and heard, they are extremely nice people. So you really should go and support them, if not for that reason alone. And also, if by chance you are, really are going to, commit suicide, please go and talk to someone. There's lots of people out there who would love to hear you out and help you out if they're able to. Good people out there. The kind of good people who, believe that you are worth your weight in salt and worth, and self-worth. And that's actually one thing I struggle with myself. It's really because of everything that happened to me, mistakenly being put on the autism spectrum. Self-worth is a big thing for me. Which, again, kind of goes with the depression aspect. And sometimes it can be really frustrating when, a good while goes by and I never hear a compliment or a thank you from other people. I mean, yeah, I do hear from my parents and, they love me no matter what. But if I already know that, then eventually I'm not going to want it from just them. Even though I should always want it from them. If not only them, if nothing else. So again, struggles. Really big struggles. But at least I can acknowledge them. And I can also acknowledge that, there are things that I get to say and do. I get to make videos every day. I get to say that I am an uncle to 3 beautiful nephews. I get to say that, there are things that I was able to do, like earn my college degree and, run 4 marathons and ride 400-mile bike rides for charity. I get to say I did all that. So, if I ever need further indication that not committing suicide was a good idea, really that's all I need right there. But the most important thing I've ever heard, and I've said this before, is easily from my mother. Because trust me, we've argued over this many a time in life. In spite of everything, she's never wavered from one thing. And it's that I have so much to offer. Well, unfortunately, while that's all well and good, and believe me, I do hear you, I don't know how to go about doing it. And perhaps I may never know. Or I could probably be doing it and not even realize it. But it does help to know that I do have at least 2 people, and my mother and father, to help me out. And I'm happy for that. Just like that I am beyond humbled that I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. And I'm also hopeful that we have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. Christmas is coming up. Gotta be ready for that. And remember, if any of you guys ever want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear, and I'll always have your back. Take care, and make good choices. See ya.